Don't lie.
Page 410. Weird that my book isn't around here. Huh?
Would you like to borrow a book?
No, I want you to have the book. Where's my book?
Great question.
Here it is.
Maybe someone jacked it.
In the bookcase.
They jacked his book.
So look, there's
What page did you say again?
410.
Ooh, that's nasty. She goes, hold it. You sick.
All right.
You got
So.
that with your hand. Don't shake his hand.
You have 3 sets of salivary glands.
Don't kiss him either.
Okay, my turn, please, Michael.
Sorry.
There's a salivary gland under the skin next to your ear. It's called the parotid salivary gland. Of course, you have one on the right side and the left side, so there's actually 2 of them. And there's a tube where they squirt saliva out through this tube that comes in towards the top of your mouth, and you can actually feel the area where it comes in with your tongue. It's a little flap of tissue that kind of hangs on your cheek, right about there. Can you feel it? It's a bump. Feels almost like the same kind of bump you get after you bite your cheek or something like that. Can you feel it right there? No? It's a little bump, and that's where this squirts saliva into your mouth. Now you also have saliva squirts underneath the tongue here from the sublingual gland. Sublingual, under the tongue. And then there's also one kind on the side of your jaw here called the submandibular gland, under the mandible. And so there are 3 salivary glands on each side for a total of 6 salivary glands that squirt saliva from under your tongue and from up in the roof of your mouth. Saliva has an enzyme in it called amylase. And that salivary amylase starts breaking down starches in your mouth. If you ever eat a starchy food like a potato and you hold it in your mouth for a while, it'll become sweet after about a minute because the enzyme amylase is breaking it down into simple sugars.
Is that a raw potato? Or
Yeah, or French fry or anything like that. Hash browns or anything with starch. This is the inside of the stomach. After the food goes down the esophagus, it enters the stomach. The stomach is actually broken up into 4 regions. This region of the stomach is called the fundic region. This region of the stomach is called the cardiac region. This region is called the body. And this region is called the pyloric region. Cardiac, fundic, body, pyloric. Are y'all memorizing this? The cardiac region of the stomach here is nearest the esophagus. Inside the stomach there are all kinds of folds called rugae. And the food gets up in between the folds, and the stomach itself has muscle around it, and it can churn. And it kind of moves in a wave-like formation, which I'll show you. Hold on. I got a golf match going on. I got people calling me. They might be wondering, what's going on with the golf match? Hey, Doug. Okay. Yeah. That's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, thanks. No, that's good. It's windy out there, isn't it? Yeah, so green is probably the thing to do, don't you think? Yeah, good. Okay, thanks. All right. Go. Okay. We had that on tape. So the food gets in there, the stomach churns the food around, mixes all the food up real good with the acid that is secreted from the walls of the stomach. The walls of the stomach secrete acid, which kills anything that's living inside the food, like bacteria and such that are on every bite of food you eat has some bacteria on it probably. That's all killed in here. Also, there's an enzyme called Pepsin that breaks down proteins that's active in the stomach. I'll show you a little video about Pepsin and how it works here. The stomach has a bunch of mucus protecting it from being digested itself. If the mucus that lines the stomach isn't there, the digestive enzymes in the stomach will start digesting the walls of the stomach. And it'll start to bleed. You know what we call that when there's a bleeding spot in the stomach? It's an ulcer. And if the stomach loses its protection, or if you're releasing too much acid in the stomach, that can happen. Sometimes the acid there's a little valve here, a little sphincter muscle. You see that? Lower esophageal sphincter. That thing is usually shut. And then when you swallow, it opens up to let food back in. And then it shuts again. But the longer you live, the weaker these sphincter muscles get. And so when you get old, you probably have this problem. That sphincter muscle opens up a little bit. And some of the acids will wash back into the esophagus and burn the walls of the esophagus because they don't have the protection that the stomach has. And that'll give you heartburn. Because remember, because referred pain, the pain is felt up here. Even though it's down here near the stomach, it's felt here. If you ever have heartburn, that's pain either in the stomach or in the bottom of the esophagus here. Often due to the acid. And so what you do to get rid of the heartburn, you know what you do? You know what you take?
Tums.
Tums, which is a what? What do we call it? It's an antacid. It's a basic chemical that neutralizes the acidity. Isn't that neat? Now you know why you take those. Of course, kids your age don't usually have that problem because all of y'all's sphincters are real strong. But when you get old, they become weaker. There's another sphincter right here that keeps the food in the stomach, and it'll open up bit by bit and let the food into the duodenum, which is the first part of the small intestine. Now, I got a video I want to show you that shows a guy eating and the food going to the stomach. Does that excite you?
I'm always excited.
Good.
That's my secret cat.
Wait a second.
Just
I can't find it. Oh, here we go. Stomach contractions.
Stomach's getting.
Oh, mouth to stomach. That's what I wanted. Here's some stomach contractions. This is good. Watch the way the stomach moves.
Contractions of the stomach's muscular walls mix food with gastric juices.
Isn't that cool? You could imagine why the stomach growls if it was moving around like that. Rawr, rawr. If you don't have anything in it, it's just kind of like a washing machine with not enough clothes in it. It makes noise. What about, where was the other one? Food.
What? How would you say that?
In order to chew food and
That's not it.
Oh.
Mouth to stomach. This is it.
The
Watch this guy eat.
raw material comes in many shapes, sizes, and tastes. In a lifetime, the average person consumes 8,000 eggs, half a ton of cheese, 6,000 loaves of bread, 1,000 gallons of milk, 24 pigs, and a ton of fruit. Swallowing starts the food machine. As we swallow, a reflex action stops us from breathing. The soft palate is raised to prevent food from backing up into the nose. An elastic flap behind the root of the tongue, called the epiglottis, bends backwards to close off the larynx, the air passage to the lungs. The mouthful is steered safely into the esophagus, a muscular tube with a lining very like skin. Waves of contractions pass along its walls, propelling the contents with such force that you could drink standing on your head. These contractions, called peristalsis, are the start of an ever-rolling conveyor belt that carries food and drink through the entire process of digestion. Just the thought of food is enough to make your mouth water. 3 pairs of salivary glands produce 2 pints of saliva every day. It pours through miniature fountains from under the tongue to lubricate the food and make it easier to swallow. It also keeps the mouth and tongue moist. Saliva really starts gushing when there's food in the mouth, or even when you think of something tasty. From here, the food has a twisting 36-foot journey through the digestive system. It will be subjected to physical and chemical attack as the body systematically dismantles the complex ingredients of food into the basic nutrients it can utilize. Chewing starts the assault. The mouth is loaded with 32 teeth designed to mill, cut, and tear. The white surface of the teeth, enamel, is the hardest substance in the body, as hard as glass. Yet it's a living tissue and can repair minor damage to its surface. As the teeth demolish the physical structure of solid food, saliva mounts a second attack. It contains 2 enzymes, chemicals that help pull apart the food's complex chemical structure. One of these enzymes breaks down starch molecules into sugar. To test this, chew something starchy for a minute or 2 and you can taste the result of this chemical reaction, a sugary sweetness in your mouth. The mouthful of food, or bolus, is squeezed down the esophagus, a journey of only 3 seconds. This is the gateway to the stomach, a valve at the bottom of the esophagus. Beyond is the inside of a muscular bag, about the size and shape of a boxing glove.
See all the curves?
The stomach is a food processor. It pulverizes what we eat, diluting or concentrating it, preparing it for the next stages of digestion. It's also a reservoir for holding food between meals. This cavern is the stomach at full stretch, at its maximum capacity of 3 pints. Strong acid pours in, attacking and breaking down food. Mysteriously, it remains safe from its own corrosive contents. The secret lies in its convoluted walls. They are covered with deep pits, each lined with microscopic cells. In a bizarre balance, some of the cells release hydrochloric acid, while their neighbors secrete a sticky mucus. This coats the stomach walls and protects it from self-destruction. The stomach lining pours out almost a gallon of gastric juice a day. Like saliva, these glands can start to water at even the thought of food.
That's cool. They have cameras now. They can just snake down into your stomach and look at it. Start in your throat. It's on a little wire. They even actually have pills now that's a camera. And you just swallow the pill. It's even got a little light on it. And it takes pictures as it rolls around in your stomach. And the computer can figure out what orient it is somehow, you know, if it's upside down or right side up in your stomach, and the computer can put all the pictures together so the doctor can look at the insides of your stomach and intestines, and you just crap it out the next day. Isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
Now watch gastric juice work here. Watch this now.
If we place a strip of beef into gastric juice and watch it for about 1 hour, we can see the effect pepsin has on protein.
Digested all the protein and left the fat. Isn't that cool? Pepsin, the enzyme in the stomach, digests only fat, not protein. I'm sorry, only protein, not fat.
This is pretty much the worst video ever made. Tuna! Are you kidding me?
This is good stuff y'all are learning. All right, let's talk about the pancreas. Page 415. Now there's this big feathery looking organ called the pancreas. It sits right underneath your stomach, right behind your stomach. And it does a couple different things. One, it squirts out digestive enzymes. And it squirts them through this long tube here, and the digestive enzymes come out either one of these two holes, either right there or right here. And you can see up close here, it's got an up close view of that square there. And the pancreas has a number of digestive enzymes, about 5 or 6 different enzymes. Lee, are you sleeping?
No.
Come on, you love the pancreas.
It loves you.
And so all sorts of organic molecules can be digested here. These big molecules that you eat in your food are all torn to little pieces. If you remember biology, there were 4 types of organic molecules. Does anyone remember what they were? We studied this in biology. 4 types of organic molecules. Carly, you're a bio whiz. You remember? Lipids. Carbohydrates.
Phosphates.
Sugars, which are carbohydrates. So lipids, carbohydrates.
Sodium.
Peptides, which are proteins. And the last one holds information.
Plus.
DNA.
DNA is a nucleic acid.
Yes, I got it.
Ah!
That was close.
So all 4 types of organic molecules that you can eat are broken down by enzymes from the pancreas. And so the pancreas is very important for digestion. The other thing the pancreas does is it squirts out a couple hormones. Do you remember what the hormones were? We already studied them.
Testosterone.
Why would you say that, Alex? Stupid.
I'll give you a hint. If you don't have it, it messes up your blood sugar.
Glucose.
Insulin and glucagon, they also come from this pancreas. So pancreas is a pretty important organ. So the food comes into the first part of the small intestine. This little C-shaped part of the small intestine is called the duodenum. And food comes into the duodenum just little by little from the stomach. This little valve called the pyloric sphincter relaxes a little and food comes in. And it's squirted on by the pancreas, which squirts enzymes onto the food that helps digest it. And it also squirts a basic substance onto the food that neutralizes the acidity. And so now this food isn't going to be as acid because the pancreas as acidic, and the enzymes from the pancreas will work on it as it moves through the small intestine. If you notice here, that little structure is called the gallbladder, and it's going to squirt a little bit of bile onto the food as well. And we'll talk about the gallbladder later. And I got my dad's going to come in and show y'all a gallbladder removal surgery that he did about 15 years ago. Are y'all going to be here on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock? Hopefully he'll come in. I'm trying to get him to come in. So we'll see if he's not busy. But at some point he'll come in and show you that surgery. It's pretty cool. So some people get stones in their gallbladder and it has to be removed. Have you ever heard of gallstones?
Sure have.
The gallbladder, your body can actually function without it. Doesn't function quite as well, but it still functions. So if you get real bad disease of the gallbladder, it's got to be taken out. It's kind of like your tonsils. So anyway, so that's what we'll study next time. So the pancreas is very important for secreting digestive enzymes. So you read through 15.7 today, and I have an ID sheet for you. You can turn that camera off now.